Hey guys, back with another video, impressions video on this game right here, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know that I was pretty excited for this game, even though I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan, like, whatsoever. In fact, I've barely played any of the games in the series. I've talked about this before, but the first game, Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, I've tried to get into that game so many times, and I just cannot do it. The gameplay of that game is just, in my opinion, atrocious. I just can't get into that game, despite enjoying the story from what I've seen of it. And Metal Gear Solid 4, I actually played that even before the first game, but I was so confused with the story in that game, and I was finding the gameplay to be generally pretty mediocre in that game as well. So I couldn't get into that game. I dropped it like halfway through. In fact, both Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 4, I dropped about halfway through. But this game, from all the videos I saw on this game, the gameplay looked amazing. And the whole mother-based component of this game looked awesome to me. And it looked awesome when I first saw it in Peace Walker. And I bought this game purely because of the gameplay. And I'm glad I did, because this game is a blast. It's extremely fun to play. The reviews have been like really high for this game, like 9s and 10s everywhere. It might even be like the highest reviewed game of the year so far. And I think that's a bit overboard. I don't think this game is a masterpiece or anything. And obviously, as far as the story goes, there was a lot of it that was confusing to me. And I'll tell you, I guess we'll start with the story with this game. Okay, after finishing this game and getting the true ending, yes, unfortunately, there's a true ending you have to get in this game, and there's a bunch of padding in terms of how to get the true ending. I'll talk about that in like the gameplay part, but after seeing the true ending of this game, and just seeing the story throughout, I really want to play the rest of the series, and in fact, it has me wanting to go back and play the first game again, because even though I didn't understand a lot of the story, and I felt like the story would have been more impactful if I had played the rest of the series, I still actually enjoyed the story overall, and especially towards the end. And yeah, I really liked the characters. Now, there were moments of melodrama that I didn't like too much, and there's a few moments in this game that I thought were really cheesy and heavy-handed. I'm not going to obviously spoil the moments, but yeah, I don't know. The story wasn't a complete success, and like I liked all the cutscenes, but I guess we'll dive right into it. Where like this game has been getting some hate bit for its cutscenes, or rather the lack of cutscenes. Now, Metal Gear Solid 4 was known to be a very story-heavy game with like I think some of those cutscenes went on for like 2 hours at least, and maybe as a reaction to the backlash that game received, this game, there's not as many cutscenes. Now, there are towards the end of the game. I found there were a lot more of them, and they got lengthier, but a lot of the story in this game is relegated to audio tapes that you get. And you really have to listen to the audio tape to get the most of the story here. And, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of that method of storytelling. I didn't really like it here, and I didn't like it in like, well, I guess that was like story logs or whatever in Final Fantasy 13. I hated it there too. I don't know. I think that's just a really lazy method of storytelling, and I really did not like how that they went with that that method for this game. I actually probably would have preferred more cutscenes and lengthier cutscenes, to be honest. And I found a lot of the audio tapes. I started to just kind of tune out. You can listen to them while playing the game, but it's at that point, I'm more involved with the gameplay that I find it hard to pay attention to the audio logs. And I mean, there's a lot of times playing this game, you'll just be sitting there just listening to hundreds of like there's at least over 100 audio tapes in this game, just getting all the story, and it's a little boring. I find when a story is presented in that way, it's harder to get attached to it. So I don't know. I thought that was a big disappointment with this game, and I'd be curious to hear other people's thoughts on those audio tapes and the story in general, because I would really love to hear people's thoughts on this game that are huge fans of the series. And I really want to go and play through the whole series now, because, like I said, I'm confused with a lot of elements. Certain characters that are brought up that I don't know who they are exactly. So I do. Unfortunately, I do have to recommend that if you're like me and are not into the series at all, or haven't played most of them and want to play this game, I would actually recommend going through the series if you were planning on doing that. You can. I still think you can have a good time with this game and enjoy the story overall, but you are going to miss out on a lot. I really do feel like I missed out on quite a bit. Um, but that said, I did enjoy the story, but I'm curious to see what other people would think about it. There's moments in this game that really caught me by surprise as far as the story goes, that really kind of blew my mind a bit. But at the same time, I could see some people thinking the story in this game is pretty ridiculous and far-fetched. Again, a lot of it would be spoilers, but I would really love to hear people's opinions on this game as far as the story goes, especially fans that are or people that are really big into this series. But yeah, I'm going to try to play Metal Gear Solid 1 again. I'm going to try, goddammit. I'm going to try to get through that horrible gameplay and just see the story through that game. I suppose I could watch like a Let's Play or something, or watch videos, but I don't know. I really kind of want to just play these games. Peace Walker is the big one though, because this game takes place before Ground Zeroes, which that's pretty much a must to play Ground Zeroes before this. But so yeah, Peace Walker takes place before Ground Zeroes, and that the events in that game seem to be mentioned quite a bit in this game, and I feel like there's even a sort of side quest of sorts. All I'll say is the Med Bay. You'll probably know what I'm talking about, but that whole segment of the game I think would be a far more impactful if I played Peace Walker. Even still, I thought that whole like kind of side quest of sorts was really well done. Although, like with a lot of this game, it seemed like someone told me how to progress through that storyline of sorts, and it's kind of bullshit. Like there's a lot in this game where I feel like you have to look up a guide to really figure out what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I guess leading into gameplay, I'll talk about the game's progression, which it's this game. The progression in this game is so weird. Like I mentioned before, you have your mother base, right, which you're constantly coming back to, and you're building this base, and you're recruiting soldiers for this base, and I really love that aspect of the game. So you've got like your mission list where. In the beginning, in Chapter 1, there's 2 chapters to this game, and in Chapter 1, you're going mission by mission, and these are story-based missions where you'll get a few cutscenes here and there, and between each mission, you come back to Mother Base and you can do some things there. So the Chapter 1 is very straightforward in that sense, but at the end of Chapter 1, or rather leading into Chapter 2, all of a sudden the story takes a backseat to the audio tapes, like I mentioned. And in order to progress, you have to basically listen to specific audio tapes and do specific side ops to make the story missions pop up in the list. And then what they do is give you the missions that you've already played and give you like bonus goals for them of sorts. So it could be a mission that you've done earlier, but now you have to do it on extreme difficulty. Or you'll have to do it completely stealthy and not be able to be seen by anyone. And luckily, you can actually access the true ending without doing any of these repeat missions. What I did basically was I had to do side ops every now and then, a few side ops to progress the story. And then just keep going from Mother Base into your chopper where you can like select missions. Yeah, it's very weird. I actually recommend reading. Well, you might accidentally end up spoiling yourself, but all I'll say is you don't have to do the repeat missions. Just do side ops from time to time and listen to all the audio tapes that are highlighted in yellow. Do anything highlighted in yellow, and you should be good to go, and you'll eventually reach the true ending. I don't know. I really don't know why they went with this decision. I think they could have just, kept doing story missions. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, Chapter 2 overall, it just feels like padding. I think the story is at its most exciting in Chapter 2, but I don't know. The structure of Chapter 2 is just really weird and off-putting. The game started to lose me a bit there, and that's where I was starting to lose my patience with this game. But yeah, gameplay overall is fantastic. Like I said before, you have the Mother Base part of the game, which is awesome, where you'll go into your missions in Afghanistan and Africa, and there's only 2 environments in the game, but they're very big, and you basically you land in these environments with your chopper, and you have like this whole open world to explore. But each of the missions has you go to specific areas in these giant maps, and how you tackle your objectives is mostly up to you. And there's so many ways to get through missions, and with the mother base, you're creating new weapons and items for you to use and for you to take on these missions. I don't really want to spoil all the different things you can use, but it's crazy the variety to this game. And even as a simple mission as like such as taking over or capturing an enemy outpost, there's so many ways to go about this, and so many different items and weapons to use, that it's like the freedom with this game is fantastic. It was always fun. Like, it always felt there was so many ways to tackle your objectives, which is why it's disappointing, because like some missions force you to do certain things. Like, some missions force you to go full on combat and full on stealth, and sometimes you're given a time limit. Anytime you're forced to play a mission in a specific way is, I think, when the game is at its worst, honestly. And there's one mission in particular where you have to deal with the skulls, which this isn't a spoiler, but there's these enemies called the skulls, and basically these enemies can only be killed with a rocket launcher, as far as I know. Now, this game is filled with different Easter eggs and ways to go about your objectives that maybe it wouldn't surprise me if you can actually like put them to sleep or stun them in some way, but assault rifles basically do nothing to these guys, and they zip around really fast around the map. They have like their aim is exceptional. And they are a pain in the ass to fight. They're probably my least favorite part of this game overall. Anytime I had to fight these guys, I was pissed the fuck off. Like, this game, as fun as it is, it can also be very frustrating. And the skulls were just really frustrating. And some of these missions overall, where you're forced to play them in specific ways, it really got on my nerves. But other than that, the game is fun throughout. Building your mother base is just so much fun. There's even an online portion to the game, which I actually turned my game offline, because you can have random people, strangers all over the world, kind of infiltrate your own base and steal recruits from you. So I kept that offline, and once I beat the game, I went back and kind of messed with that a bit, and it seems cool and really in-depth, where you can kind of add security to your base and kind of add turrets and things like that, and you can infiltrate other people's bases and steal their soldiers. It seems very cool and in-depth. I didn't mess around with it too much because I'm just not into multiplayer all that much, and I didn't really want to lose any recruits to that, but if you're into that, that will probably last you a long time. And this game overall is just filled with content. There's so many missions, so many side ops, which I mentioned earlier. Side ops are like these the optional missions, basically, like kill an armored unit, or rescue a soldier, or capture a different type of animal. There's all different types of side ops, and those are very enjoyable as well. I enjoyed doing those. Yeah, it's a stealth game that I actually enjoyed playing stealthy, because, to extract soldiers for your base, you have to attach them to this balloon thing called a photon. But in order to do that, you have to either put them to sleep or stun them. And to do that, you got to be stealthy. You can't just go around killing people. So yeah, I played this game mostly stealthy, and it was really fun, which blows my mind, because I hate stealth games. I can't stand them, yet I really loved being stealthy in this game. I think a big part of that is like the freedom. There's just so many ways to tackle your objectives. But yeah, I guess one thing with the mother base that I don't like, another issue I have with the gameplay, are all the timers. To build stuff, it takes real time minutes. Like, some things might only take 18 minutes, although even that's a bit much. Some things take like an hour or like 2 hours to build, and that's kind of annoying. I kind of hated that. I wish the timers were just quicker in general. You can take buddies with you on missions. Of course, you have Quiet that you can take with you, which she's a major character in this game, a very interesting character. Definitely one of the more intriguing characters in the game, I thought. I don't really want to spoil anything with her, but you can take her out on missions, and you can get her different types of weapons. There's a dog you can take with you on missions. There's all sorts of vehicles that you can fault on as well. It's there's just so much to this game, and it's always fun to play. Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess that's it with the gameplay. Easily the highlight of the game, in my opinion, and it's funny comparing this with Metal Gear Solid 4 even. Like just the strides they've made in terms of gameplay with this series, it's pretty insane. Um, but yeah, yeah, I think the move to open world was a good one. Although I don't really have any problems with the open world in general. It can be annoying to navigate sometimes. It can be annoying if you're trying to get to point A to point B on your horse, and on the way there's like some enemy outposts, and you just don't want to take them out, and they start shooting at you when they see you, and I don't know, that can be annoying. But yeah, gameplay wise, really fantastic. Um, Visually, a stunning game too. This game looks fantastic. The frame rate is a smooth 60 frames per second. It never drops. The game plays fantastic. The controls are great, which that's another gameplay thing too. I've always struggled with the controls with this series, and this game, while the controls are complex, there's a lot going on, and it takes a little bit to learn the controls, but once you've got them down, this game controls like a dream. Really, really fantastic stuff there. Yeah, like I mentioned, the character models all look fantastic. Really great looking game on the PS4. I don't know, it probably looks even better on the PC too. Audio-wise, voice acting was really good overall. I guess there's been some controversy over Keith Sutherland voicing Snake, and I kind of got used to him, but from what I've heard of David Hayter, I think he does fit the character a little better. So it was a bit weird, I guess. But I don't know, being someone that's not a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, that doesn't bother me as much as some people, I'm sure. The soundtrack is really good too. A lot of original tracks that are quite good, but it's the licensed soundtrack that I loved in this game. It's all 80s music, and you can find like tape decks throughout the missions that give you new music. So many great 80s songs on here. "Take on Me" by Aha is on there. It was one of like my favorite guilty pleasure songs. Like I love that song. It's so cheesy. It's so 80s. It's great. So you can like listen to this music while playing the game too. So you're riding on your horse or capturing an outpost, listening to "Take on Me," and it's just I don't know. There was so many great moments with this game. So many funny moments. And I have to actually mention the attention to detail with this game. And this is something I've noticed with Kojima's games in general. And this is with the Metal Gear Solid series in general. There's so many different hidden Easter eggs and cool things you can do. I don't really want to spoil anything, but there's a particular boss of sorts in this game that like I went on the internet and there's some really creative ways you can take out this boss that never would have occurred to me. And in general, just all these little details kind of add up for me, and it just, I don't know, the game's crazy. It's crazy how many different hidden Easter eggs and little things you can do. Boss battles, actually, I forgot to mention boss battles. There's not too many in this game. In fact, there's hardly any, and that's a big departure with this series. The series is known for its pretty creative boss battles, and the boss battles that are in this game, there's two that I can think of that I really enjoyed. And then actually, the rest of them, not too great, not too great. Yeah, so some people I think are disappointed with that, the fact that there's just hardly any boss battles compared to previous Metal Gear Solid games. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it didn't bother me too much, but seeing how creative they got with bosses in previous Metal Gear Solid games, it is a bit disappointing. I can see how some people were not too keen on that. Yeah, soundtrack, like I mentioned, great. I think that about covers it. It's I really loved the game. What can I say? It's probably easily one of my favorite games of the year. I think it's one of the best games of the year by far. And I actually want to play the rest of the series at this point. There's so many different things in this game like that happened in the story that made me want to check out previous games, especially Peace Walker. I need to play that. So yeah, I'm going to try Metal Gear Solid 1 again. I'm going to really try that game and hopefully move on to 2 and 3 and play Metal Gear Solid 4 again. But yeah, overall, fantastic game. Highly recommend it, whether you're a fan of the series or not, really. Because yeah, even someone like me that's hated the series, I think this game is just a ton of fun to play overall. Um, so yeah, anyways, that's it, guys. What did you think of this game? Are you playing it right now? Yeah, that's it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.